Ladies and gentlemen, it's your host Kaivan. I have privilege today to be sitting here next to Rae Reichlin, and she is the founder of Ladies Who Lift. Like, what is Ladies Who Lift is all about? What do you guys do there, and what is the community all about?
Yeah. So Ladies Who Lift is an all-female strength training workshop and class that I run twice a month. I run a level 1 class that is meant to onboard people into lifting, absolute beginners, any size, any shape, any age, and then a level 2 class that's meant to take those skills that you learned and progress them further. It's meant to empower women and build a community of strong women who feel comfortable in a space together working on something where they might not feel that comfortable elsewhere.
Got it. And you and I were having this conversation while you were getting makeup done, and you mentioned that you just started this about 7 months ago, and it has been complete sellout. Every single time you have posted that. That is, by the way, I have to tell you, first of all, congratulations on doing that. And second of all, like, I don't think it's something that people realize that how hard it is to organize an event and then actually market the event and being able to get people to come and execute in it, right?
Yes.
So I have to give you a lot of kudos for that.
Thank you.
So how does it feel knowing that you started something that you have clearly passion for, and you're able to now have sold out classes?
I mean, it feels amazing. I had no idea that, I knew that this was something that I really loved and I loved doing, and I knew that my one-on-one clients and the classes that I teach, I knew that they were loving it. But I didn't know that if I were to do this on my own, that if anybody was going to care or love it or come. And I really just felt how much weight training and weightlifting had done for me, and I saw how much it did for my clients. So to start this and be able to affect a larger group of people again and again and again feels amazing. And to have them connect to the message that I'm trying to put out there in a genuine and like passionate way.
What is the
is
message?
absolutely everything. I mean, the message is to get stronger, basically, and that we need to shift our focus away from just the pure aesthetics of what working out and training can do for you, and see how pushing your body a little bit further in this way can, yes, affect the way that you look, but can affect the way you feel, the way you act in your everyday life, the way you present yourself to the world, the way you communicate with other people, encourage other people, and just live your everyday life.
One of the things that you mentioned, that you moved here when you were 18 years old because you wanted to attend Columbia College, right? And then you wanted to work on purchasing sets and equipments for movie sets, right?
Yeah, like set dressing, set decoration, the building of sets.
So you started off there in that industry, in that
Yes.
category, right? But you also said that you have never worked for anybody.
Never worked for anybody else. I've always been freelance.
And why go that route? And why not follow the template that everybody does? Is go to college, then get a corporate America job, and work your way up into the ladder, and get to the CFO, CMO position. Why different?
You know, that's a great question. Both my parents they work for themselves. Both of them are entrepreneurs in their own ways. My mom is actually a personal trainer, and my dad owned his own company. So I grew up with these just two huge influences of, working for yourself, running your own schedule. And then I'm also a very independent person. I don't necessarily love to be told what to do, and I don't do my best work when I'm being told what to do. I definitely work the best when I am in control of all the moving pieces. I find that I am the most passionate when I'm producing something that is like my own baby, my own child.
So that's clearly says that's why you had all the classes that were sold out, right?
So I think that I just naturally needed to go in that direction.
Interesting. So I have a couple of follow-up questions from this, right? So I would love to know, how did you get to Ladies Who Lift, right? You had this career before, then you figured out your second passion. I know your first passion, because of our conversation, was in dancing. How many ups and downs, and how many tears and laugh and joys that you had to go through? And just I want to know from really internal feelings, how did you get there?
Yeah, well, Dancing was like my entire life growing up. I loved being a part of a team and working on something tangible that, you know, we would learn, rehearse, perform. I loved that. The creation and the performance was everything. And doing that with a group of people is amazing because you're feeding off of one another's energy. But when I moved to Chicago, the audition process of dance, and once you start to get to a certain level, you know, you start to get pinned against one another, and it's a lot of rejection and, you know, people looking at your body and what you're doing and sort of being like, no.
Yeah.
And that it didn't jive with me. I couldn't imagine having to go through that my entire life. So I decided to go the film route and study this other thing. Again, something where we were working as a team to build and produce a tangible outcome. Loved that, but again, it wasn't my projects. It was something that I was producing for somebody else. And I don't know if you've ever been on like a movie set, but you were there. Yeah. You were there forever.
Got it.
So just working that many hours and that hard for somebody else eventually like really tore me down. And when I had stopped dancing, I had started working out because I needed this other way to use my body. I had used my body my entire life. I couldn't just stop. So I started working out and I started lifting weights, and that really resonated with me.
And I'm going to ask you something here. Is that you never thought, like, I don't know if you did or not, but like, did you ever imagine yourself being a coach when it came to like lifting weights and stuff?
No. I never imagined myself. My sister's a teacher, and I can't teach people. I was a camp counselor at one point. I was a terrible camp counselor. No, I definitely never thought I would be a teacher to other people.
How was that transition, right? Because I'm following your journey here from dancing to movie sets, right? So like, did you ever feel like, man, I don't know if I could do this. Like, I'm exhausted. Like, I did dancing. Now I'm gonna go do the sets, and now I'm gonna go. Like,
man, sometimes I still feel like that.
But that's what entrepreneur is. Like,
Absolutely.
You go through the roller coaster, you go through the ride, and you
every day
try to figure out like what each day is a mission for us, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, when I was getting to a point with film where I was so fed up, I was so exhausted, and I was waking up every morning totally bummed out that's what I was going to be doing with my day, just because I knew I was going to be there for like 18 hours. And once I would wake up super early to make myself something healthy to eat and go to the gym. And, you know, I would be done there at 6:30 a.m. and I'd be like, man, it's 6:30 and the best part of my day is done.
Wow.
And so I would come home at night just totally frustrated and bummed out and, just down about like, what am I going to do? How am I going to fix this? And how can I turn what I love to do, this, you know, going to the gym into a job and something that I can do for my entire life. So for a while, I was incredibly unsure that it was something I could do at all.
And you know, I'm just thinking in my mind while we were having this conversation, and I know so many people that will be okay, that they won't change anything. They'll be like, it's okay. I'll just keep doing this for the rest of my life, and time will fly by, and at the end, you know, it's like it's gone like this in a matter of seconds and minutes, right?
Yeah.
I don't want us to make any assumption, but like I'd love to know, like, why do you think it's like that? Why do you think certain people just don't see that? Like I literally see certain times, and I'm just like, I kind of feel I want to help you. Like, there's so much more to life. There's so much more you can explore. You can travel the world. Like, you want to live in Costa Rica. You want to move there, and you want to be able to impact life from there, right? Like, you want to change lives there. But why do people settle for mediocrity and just like...
I mean, I think it's different for everybody. Just a lot of people's goals are different. Some people's goals are they want to have the best family they can. They want to be an amazing mother, an amazing father, the best aunt, uncle, whatever it might be. And that is enough for them. I don't think that everybody's career is their main drive, which probably for us is like something that's really hard to understand. But they probably look at us and are like, but what about like your life? What about, you know, going out on a Friday night, going out on a Saturday night? I think it's just a different headset. You know, they can't understand where we're at, you know, on a Saturday night going through your emails, planning things out, writing in your notebook, and vice versa. So
it's, based on all the stuff that you're doing and you've gone through, how's your family, friends, boyfriend, relationship, how's all of that supported you, or how's that made an impact with decision-making process? I think one of the things as human, I think what we, I don't want to say lack, but what we are so scared to do is make decisions. We are so scared to make decisions. So someone who's an independent, really striving, how was that for you with everything around you?
Well, I have amazing parents. They're so super supportive. They both grew up dancers, artists. And my dad actually encouraged me to not even go to college. He was like, you should just move to New York and dance. And I was like, Dad, I think I want to go to college.
Talk about staying uncomfortable.
Right, yeah. I definitely had parents who pushed me to, they were very comfortable with me. I want to try horseback riding. I want to try dancing. I want to try writing. They were never, ever the type to be like, you can't, or why, or question any of that. They were like, you go for it. And on top of that, I have an older sister and a younger sister, my own mother. I'm very surrounded by very absolute middle child, through and through. But I'm surrounded by really, really strong women. And on top of that, the Philly attitude. So, to make a decision, without them too, sometimes you just got to put your foot down and be like, this is what's going to happen. So being surrounded by strong people and strong women definitely has been a huge influence. But from changing my careers, a lot of my friends are still in the film world. All my friends have just been incredibly supportive. They come to my classes. I train some of them now. I train some of the bosses that my higher ups in my film sets now. So a lot of people have just been really, really supportive.
Throughout the journey?
Yeah, throughout the journey.
So what's next for you?
What's next? Well, I want to keep growing Ladies Who Lift. I would love to bring it to other cities. I'm planning on doing one in Philly, in my own hometown in December.
Okay.
And I'm planning a fitness retreat in Costa Rica for April. So I love traveling, I love fitness, I love teaching, and I'm hoping that I can continue to build this in a direction where I can do all of those things together.
Got it. So I usually ask what do you like to do for fun? And the more I'm doing this, the more I'm realizing that a lot of people just answer who's sitting on this couch is like, well, I love what I do.
Right.
I love what I do, so therefore that's fun for me.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to put it in a different direction. It's like, how do you relax? How do you during your downtime, right? Friday night, seems like people are still out partying, whatnot. Seems like you're home checking your emails. How do you relax on Friday night?
Only sometimes. I have great friends. I love my friends. I love the relationships I've made in Chicago.
I would love to know, what's one of the most uncomfortable things that you've done, and now you're sitting here and you look back in your career and your journey, the whole entire thing, right? It's like, man, if I didn't do that, I would not be where I'm today.
I think a couple things. I have this weird thing in me where I'm like, I can do that. I know I can do that. So when I started studying film, that came out of left field. It came out of absolutely nowhere, but somewhere in me was like, I have some pretty good taste. I can do that. So starting to study that and sort of just the belief that I could if I tried was pretty uncomfortable. But, if you have the passion for it and you can meet the people, communicate with them, then I believe that you can make that happen. So that was pretty uncomfortable. And then just starting to train, one-on-one, that's a huge responsibility. You're in charge of their safety. They're trusting you with their bodies. Working out can be really just daunting and scary for a lot of people on a couple different levels. So to take responsibility over that, again, was something that, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do and make them feel good about it. Yeah. So overcoming that. And then I'd say the first and second Ladies to Lift were equally as scary. The first because, I had no idea if this market was even out there, if this was something that people wanted. And The first one was really successful. A lot of people came, but then there was this second one of, oh no, am I going to be able to reproduce this again, or is this going to be this one-off thing that was fun for a minute there, but be nothing? So I think to keep the hype going and believing that it could be something that could be redone again and again and again, and build
upon that.
Yeah, and build upon that was uncomfortable and scary. Continues to be.
Well, it's always going to be, right? Because you're putting yourself in I believe when you are putting yourself out there, you're being very vulnerable, right? And you know you don't want to get hurt, right? At the end of the day. And it's like, I'm doing this because I have a passion for it and I continue to grow and learn about it, right? But at the same time, one of the questions I have is like, how do you stay motivated? Because like we said earlier, as entrepreneurs, we go through this roller coaster, right? We get super excited and the next day, like, we're literally have tears coming out of eyes. Like, I have no shame on saying that I probably cry once a week. It's just, sometimes it just gets very frustrating, and it's like, am I doing this thing correctly? Am I heading the right path in life? And how do you stay motivated?
Hearing that, I mean, specifically with Ladies Who Lift, that has become like my absolute everything. Hearing that women and the people that come are receiving and feeling the exact message that I'm trying to put out there is what keeps me motivated. The fact that they are coming in feeling scared, feeling uncomfortable, and then leaving with this renewed sense of energy and confidence and strength. That's exactly what I'm trying to do, and having that being received so immediately is really what like keeps me motivated, and I want to keep them motivated and keep that feeling within them going. So because if they're receiving it, I'm not going to stop, trying to put it out there.
And I believe that when you're doing that, you also feed off of that as well, right?
Oh yeah.
That is, I think, what sometimes it's like an email could change. Like, you got here and something good happened, right? And I was like, be ready, because I just got so much energy, right? So I think an email can literally change the impact of how our energy levels are and how we communicate because of replication and what we're getting in return from them, right?
Absolutely. I teach and train, I don't know how many hours a week. And even if just two people after a class, not even a Ladies Who Lift class, but a class that I teach, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, even if just people are like, that was a great class. Yes. You're like, you are ready for the next one. I want to go home and make another one. It definitely, impacts you to know that you are impacting other people.
I love what you're doing, by the way. I have to tell you.
Thank you.
You're making such a huge impact that you might not see it right now because it might be like a small domino effect or something that you've been doing for 7 months. But I think what you're doing is incredible because, there are females out there who really want to, go and lift and become confident. And unfortunately, we live in a society where everybody judges each other. And sometimes that can become very uncomfortable, right? And therefore, it brings down my confidence level. It brings down certain things. So I have to applaud and say, keep doing what you're doing, because you're indirectly, honestly changing people's life as well.
I hope so.
You are. It's not I hope so. You are. And to ask you one other question I really wanted to know is, because you've been doing this freelance and working for yourself ever since you started your career, and I've been always doing consulting work, whatnot, but I always had like 9 to 5, right? And one of the things that I found very, very challenging for me was everybody thinks working from home is amazing. It's like the greatest things ever, but it was the most difficult thing that I had to overcome because I wasn't, it's not like I'm not organized or anything, but it was like I had to now make my own schedule. I had to do certain things at certain times, so that way, otherwise it's like, oh, I don't need to go anywhere. I could just relax.
Nobody will ever know. Yeah.
And I'd love to know, like, how did you figure that out? Like, what was your path to that?
Still now, if I have too much time on my hands, I'm like, I need to get out of the house. I've just come to recognize what is dangerous and poison and what is not. The things that I find helpful is like, just to write everything down. Like, write absolutely everything down. Like, all your ideas, your schedule, everything. Write it down. If
do you have a planner that you use or anything in particular?
I have like 5 different notebooks, and they all serve their own purpose. I could get my backpack right now and show you
No way.
They go everywhere with me. They all have their own things that exist inside of them.
So you still believe in the purpose of writing things down?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Nothing gets typed in my life before it gets written down by hand, for sure. So I don't have one. It's only organized for me. Nobody else would know what to do with any of it, but I know what's going on. I certainly know what's going on. And the other thing is, I'm lucky enough that I have lots of friends who also work for themselves. You know, lots of my other fellow trainers, and then because I went to art school and was in the art world, I have a lot of freelance designer friends, film friends.
Got it.
So I'm lucky enough that I can be like, I have a bunch of work to do. Like, let's meet up. And even just 2 people being in a space, you know, you're gonna stay connected, like into your zone, your work zone, a little bit more.
So one of the things I've noticed is that you have multiple tattoos, and I've actually never asked this question to any of the people who's been sitting on the hot seat thus far, but I'd love to know what the numbers that you have on your ankle stands for, and then I also noticed you have one right here.
It's a naked lady. That's her butt. That's her back.
Okay, and then I also noticed you have one.
And this is a like a symbol of a serpent.
Is there a backstory to all this?
Of course there is.
I love to know. I think our audience would like to know that as well.
So this one is a friendship tattoo I have with my best friend Hazel.
Okay.
She is the most talented girl I know. She's a graphic designer, and just, you know, filled with amazing ideas and creativity. And we met as complete strangers. We moved in together, not knowing one another. And this is the number of the apartment that we moved in together. Yeah, it's just a really special. I don't have any family in Chicago, and she definitely feels like, you know, she is a part of my family. It's just a really special relationship.
Okay, so that one's that.
That's Hazel.
Hazel. Naked
This
lady.
one, naked lady. So this is I have one on my hip that sort of they go hand in hand.
Okay.
That I got at the same time. The one on my hip, I found this designer who sort of takes Morse code and makes it look more like script. And I have on my hip, it says mother, daughter, sister. And I got that with my naked lady, and it's sort of just my ode to women and the sort of secret language that we share with one another that
We would never understand.
that you will never understand. So yeah, this is just sort of my girl power
Girl power,
tattoo.
okay. And then the last but not least.
I have one more on my side that, not the last. So, but this one, me, my mom, and my sister. My mom is a really interesting lady. She's really also very creative and just filled with awesome ideas and adventures. And when it was time to take me to college, so I'm from Philadelphia. We drove here, but we took all back roads. So she literally got out a map and tracked with like a pen all the back roads. So it turned from, you know, the drive from Chicago to Philly can be like 14 hours, and we made it into a 4-day trip. And she found a bunch of just like weird things for us to visit and go to, and all these like secret little spots. And there's this place in Ohio called Serpent's Mound, and it's this like ancient Indian burial ground, and we took a trip there, and we sort of just this was our last time, like all 3 of us like really being together in one space before we all sort of go off and have our own lives and
Conquer the world.
And we all have this, me, my mom, and my sister, and it's just sort of so that this is what Serpent's Mound is shaped like, and it's just like a commemoration of that moment.
Your mom does sound like a badass.
She sure is. She sure is.
So, you are literally impacting the world. Do you know that?
Trying to.
You're literally impacting the world, and you're pushing any female that comes to ladies who lift, and you're pushing them beyond their boundaries, and you're giving them literally saying anything is possible and anything is achievable, right? All you have to do is put yourself out there and being able to really, really just work on it. And you're leading that. What's that one message that you could give our audience that might be going through something in life, that might be just crying, that might be happy, but is trying to figure life out? Like, What's that one message you want to give our audience to?
Something that I feel has been huge to me, and I have two things, is A, to trust your gut instinct. If you feel something and it's going through your head every day, that means something, and you need to listen to that voice and act on it. Mm-hmm. And then when you do start to act on it, you need to find the people who support you. You're not going to be able to do it alone. You need to have people that you can just throw up these ideas to and talk about it as much as you need to and want to, and they're going to be there willingly receiving that and responding, because there's people who don't want to, they don't want to congratulate you, they don't want to tell you it's a good idea or tell you it's a bad idea, they don't want to have anything to do with it. Mm-hmm. So you need to find the people and the friendships and the relationships who are going to be behind you and push you and tell you the hard truths and give you feedback, and all in all just be a support system for you.
Thank you. And one follow-up question from that. Have you had to cut ties with people in your life in order to get to where you are today?
Yeah, definitely. There's been it takes a lot of time to do what I feel like I need to do. It takes up most of my time. So sometimes, personal relationships, romantic relationships have to, take a back seat, honestly, because you need to be able to give your energy, not saying forever, but when you're trying to build something, it's definitely really hard, and it's not always fun for anyone involved. But and then like I was saying, just previously, there was definitely people who, when I started trying to take my personal training job and take it from being a personal trainer and group fitness instructor to something bigger, that was the moment that they sort of stopped supporting me and asking how things were going. So those are the people that are not supporting you. Those people who don't want to ask you how things are going. Those people who, don't ask how you are. You don't always necessarily need to cut ties with those people, but pay attention to who is and who isn't, because you need positivity in your life, and that's what's going to keep you energized and motivated. So, you don't need to put a hard stop, but definitely start opening your arms up more to the people who are
pushing you.
Yeah,
in the right
who are doing it back to you.
Got it. Well, like I mentioned, you are literally going to leave a mark on this world, and I would love for you to leave a mark on my wall.
Yeah.
The famous wall, and pick your spot anywhere you want.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cool.